You are good.
You know what I want to do today, Alex and Cullinane? What I want us all to do, we're going to try to do today. It won't be easy, but I would like to summon our better angels. Do you think you could do that? We could summon our better angels. And I don't want to go low anymore, I decided. Michelle Obama inspired me last night. For now on, you can go low if you want, but I'm going to go high. That's what we do. That's what we do. You know, I agree. They don't go low. The Democrats do not. Now, Barack Obama go low. I mean, did you see his eulogy for John Lewis? He went high the whole time, especially when he was talking about voting rights and Jim Crow and how Trump is evil. That was a class move from Barack Obama. But I have to say that it was much more entertaining than I thought last night. Reimer, I know you love to see Bernie, your guy Bernie, but I have to say they marched out. It was comical at times. I literally laughed out loud when I saw some of the people that they put on stage on day one of the virtual Democrat National Convention.
Well, I mean, John Kasich has a big constituency. He's always shown that he's like a creature of cable news green rooms. There's nobody outside of like Bill Kristol who would even think about following him. But I'm amazed you say that. I mean, the Democrats are the most like soft party that ever existed. If Trump stole the election, they would send off a few snappy tweets and then be like, okay, there's nothing more we can do. Sorry. Okay. I mean, they're really like a pathetic political party. So I don't see why you're afraid of them
I'm not, but you're dead wrong. You're 100% wrong. As I talked about this with Turtle Boy yesterday, I will give you credit. Your party fights dirty. Go low.
What do they do that's dirty?
They're completely making up a scandal and trying to tarnish Trump with this post office thing. They're showing pictures from 2016 of mailboxes being locked. They're showing photos of mailboxes on trucks.
Still waiting.
And the leaders of your party, Susan Rice and others, are saying, Nancy Pelosi saying this is a scandal. We must come back. She wants to bring Congress back to investigate. It's completely 100% made up. Just like the Russian hoax, just like the Ukraine hoax, just like all the accusations against Kavanaugh. Again, your people, they fight dirty. Michelle Obama fights dirty.
Okay, these are facts. I mean, they've eliminated overtime from the Postal Service, and as a result, a lot of mail is not getting. Well, Jerry, a lot of mail is not getting delivered. People are waiting for mail.
They lose $5 billion a year, and you think they should be paying
Jerry, the post office
more?
Jerry, the post office is enshrined in the Constitution. It's not supposed to turn a profit. Do you know what also doesn't turn a profit and loses billions of dollars every year? The fucking Department of Defense. I mean, so why don't we shut them down? I mean, but government institutions are not supposed to make money. They all lose a lot of money.
They're not supposed to lose billions.
Department of Defense loses billions every year.
They don't lose billions.
Yes, they do. They spend a lot more than they bring in, do they not?
They protect the free world. But you want to talk about that? We'll do it another day, Reimer. We'll do it another day. I'm all for cutting the defense budget. I'm all for pulling back. I'm all for pulling back. As I mentioned the other day, we have 740 military installations around the world. Way too much. I'm tired of it. I'm with Trump. We should be taking people back from Germany and Japan and Korea, not just Iraq and
we have the same amount of troops in Iraq now as we did when
Trump took office. Day.
But anyway,
Alex, that is for another day. Today you should celebrate because you saw the stars of your party on screen last night. Beto O'Rourke and Lori Lightfoot.
Beto O'Rourke. When was he on stage? I missed his segment.
I don't know. I just saw this compilation and it was funny because you forget what these people look like. Meg Whitman, Christy Todd Whitman, John Kasich. All
the Republicans.
They were, but now they're supporting Joe Biden.
Right.
Big Republicans.
Why are they?
And watching a guy like Kasich or Christy Todd Whitman followed up by Bernie Sanders, you're thinking you're full of it. You don't believe what you're saying. You don't agree with Bernie Sanders on anything. You're just a grifter. That's all you are. You're just looking for FaceTime. And after seeing Kasich and Christy Todd Whitman, I don't think that I don't think getting FaceTime in high def is doing them any favors. But let's get to
unlike the
I'll let
85-year-old fat men who will be all over the RNC like next week. What are you talking about?
Why are they bringing out Meg Whitman? Because she's like the laughing stock of the media right now with that company that she is failing at right now. Why would Meg Whitman be?
What
like
is she?
that?
What is she failing at? What company?
Have you
Oh,
looked at
Quibi, yeah.
Yeah, it's a laughing stock. The joke. It raised
what
like
that
$5
is.
billion, and they're using her as some.
I like to do
I
that.
don't know why, but it's
We
ridiculous.
should get her to
All
run
right,
the Jerry
all right.
Callahan podcast if she can raise $5 billion.
What did you tweet last night? A couple of people tweeted at me and said that you finally snapped because I finally broke you. Did you tweet something about how disappointed you were in this convention or in your?
I tweeted something
stars?
and it didn't get like any likes, so I'm like, I'm gonna delete this because it's embarrassing. So I
Yes.
delete tweets if they don't get well received.
What
I forget,
was it? What
I
did
forget
you
what it
delete?
was. It was probably something
Oh, sure you
angry.
did.
I do. I know. Honestly, I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, I know what it was. Eva Longoria was hosting, and I thought that was a very good choice
right.
for a party that
You did?
wants to distance itself from being a Hollywood elite party. I thought that was the perfect choice.
What? I mean, the perfect choice, Eva Longoria. Am I?
Yes.
Maybe my memory is not serving me, but do actresses normally host conventions?
Well, I mean,
normal?
conventions are usually held, with people, a lot of people. I don't know if you know that, Jerry. So it's a
Right,
bit of a
but there's-
different thing this year. So they probably wanted to bring in a host, which was fine, but it was very telethon-y kind of. It all the charm of an employee training video, I think.
It absolutely felt like a telethon. It felt, sanitized and sterile. And there's a good reason for that. I mean, you watch and it's all pre-recorded. So you're not going to see any real curveballs. You're not going to see any surprises.
Here's how you can tell Michelle Obama pre-recorded hers. She said there's been 150,000 COVID deaths. We're up to 170. She wouldn't have undersold it if this was current. So that was like 2 weeks ago.
We'll get to the death toll and the most amazing appearance, the most amazing speech I've ever seen in my life from a politician. I am still stunned at the gall of Andrew Cuomo. But Michelle Obama was the star of the night. Everyone was praising her, as they always do. Michelle Obama could come on stage and clip her toenails, and the mainstream media would swoon and say how graceful and gracious and wonderful she was. This is amazing to me. This is her big moment. This is their big moment. This is the first night of the convention. This is their biggest star, much, much bigger star than either the guy at the top of the ticket, Sleepy Joe, or the woman at the on the ticket who has done nothing, brought no one to the Democrats, and Kamala Harris. I mean, just a disastrous pick. And I'm sure Biden asked Michelle Obama first, and she turned him down. But she comes on and does a speech. I don't even know how long it was. What was it, 20 minutes? And she did fine. She read the teleprompter, did a fine job.
I can't wait till Melania copies it next week. Do you think that'll be weird when she says?
Yes, good. Right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, she's no plagiarist. Melania Cullen.
Anyway, she comes out, does all the usual talking points, and how Joe's just wonderful. And, we were respected around the world, she said, when Barack Obama, and we had a better economy, which is comical.
Well,
but anyway,
now the economy.
There was one thing missing. There was one thing. Actually, there was two things missing from her speech. One thing was missing from all the speeches, and we will get to it. That would be condemning the violence in our cities, condemning Antifa. Reimer's rolling his eyes.
Because nobody cared about that. I mean, what?
Are you kidding? Have you heard the numbers? People are abandoning inner cities. They're abandoning these cities.
Jerry, I live in a city. I'm not like you. I haven't hunkered down in Maine here. I'm there. I'm there with the people. It's fine.
If you own property, if you owned a business, you'd be disgusted.
Oh, stop
this
it!
party.
I mean, Jerry, honestly,
what about two major parties will not condemn this violence? It is outrageous.
I condemn this made-up violence. Fine, it's all condemned on
made-up violence. Okay, please. Cullinane, you have one job. Get me the video from Portland over the weekend.
Portland, Maine.
Okay, Portland is a city. I'm not sure you're aware of this. It's a city in Oregon. It's a city in the United States. They're doing nothing to protect the citizens, the businesses of Portland or Seattle or any number of other cities. I know it doesn't. I know you don't want to talk about it,
Because it's
it
boring.
is an
It's
issue.
so boring. Nobody cares
boring.
about it. Like, nobody cares.
It's
Jerry.
boring.
It's
Okay.
boring.
I can't believe you're going to do this to me. I really did think Shattuck was on today. I thought you were another day, and I wasn't ready for this.
Doing overnights tonight.
Well, good for you. Good for you. I'm starting to agree with all these people.
It's been a big NBA bubble. I mean, we had playoff games. We had playoff games all day, Jerry. Fucking Nuggets.
All right, let me know. Let me know, Dave, when you have the video for over the weekend of the guy. His name is Andrew Reimer, I believe, something like that. Who his name just broke this morning. Just get on Andy No's Twitter feed. It's disgusting. I've seen the video a dozen times. People like Alex don't want to see it because they know that this is the militant wing, the militia wing of the Democrat Party. These are Biden supporters. They're kicking people in the head.
They're not Biden supporters. There's no such thing.
Oh no, they're big Trump. They're big Trump fans.
They're not. Fans. There's no such thing as fervent Biden supporters. I mean, they're not.
And the dirty little secret is Biden and Harris and Obama want to keep the chaos going. They want the violence to go at least till November, because they think it hurts Trump. The perception that the country is in chaos hurts Trump. So they want to keep that going. But if you didn't see it, and I didn't see it all last night, it was 4 hours of, just cliches and happy talk, and no mention, no condemnation at all of the violence in our inner cities. No condemnation of Antifa or Black Lives Matter. In fact, just the opposite.
I'm shocked Michelle Obama didn't condemn Black Lives Matter.
Okay, fine. You can support. Go for it. I said that. Go for it. You want to support the violence from Black Lives Matter and Antifa? You do that. We'll see. That's the best issue Trump has going for him. That is the best issue.
What's something that nobody even knows what that's happening? I mean,
I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, you used to be a news guy. You used to follow the news and watch news and read about news. You just checked out. Are you just strictly an NBA bubble guy now? Is that what it is?
I just don't even, I mean, Boston had one riot at the end of May. I mean, it's now like the end of August. Like, this is old news, Jerry.
Cullinane, do you have it yet?
I am pulling up. Are you talking about the journalist who was
talking about the guy getting kicked in the head?
Oh, God.
Have you seen that? I've seen it a dozen times. Watch the beginning of it. They pull him out of his truck. They beat up his girlfriend. This guy was protecting a transgender woman and another woman, his girlfriend, who gets tackled. They beat him up. He's sitting there defenseless, and they kick him in the head. He's still in the hospital unconscious. That's the militant wing of the Democrat Party. That act, which happened, I believe, on Sunday, was not condemned by anybody on Monday. Nobody. It is disgusting. And I'm just reading now. They know who did it. They know that guy who kicked the guy in the head there. They know who did it. They haven't arrested him. There's no, why you wouldn't arrest him in, the minute you found out who it was, or the minute you saw that video, is beyond me. But he has not been arrested. That is incredible. There are no cops showing up at these riots. They're again trying to burn down the courthouse. They're again trying to burn down the police union building in Portland, and no Democrat cares. No one will condemn it, including all the above. Lightfoot, Cuomo. These are people who are looking the other way as this violence goes on in their cities, in their states. But we got to get to what Michelle left out, and I found out why this morning. You noticed, Alex, that she did not mention Kamala. She didn't mention Kamala. She didn't even mention her and mispronounce her name. She didn't mention.
The video was recorded before the pick was made.
So,
that's why.
Okay, when was the pick made? A week ago,
Last
right?
week, yeah. I think she recorded it like 2 weeks ago. Because again, I told you the death toll is like 2 weeks out of date. So she was 2 weeks.
It is amazing to me that it was not that important to her that she couldn't update it after the most significant decision of the campaign for her guy, picking Kamala. Kamala is
Kamala.
I'm sorry. What did I say? Kamala.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I'm trying not to say Kamala because that's the way
Tucker
says it. Oh, I'm watching the video again. Turn on your TV, Alex.
I'm not in a room with one. What,
and then boom, the poor guy gets kicked in the head. Anyway, so I find she doesn't mention Kamala, and everyone's speculating. Maybe she didn't like the pick, or maybe whatever. There's a little cat fight going on between these two women, and She doesn't mention it. Very significant. It's the chance to get the black vote, women vote, whatever. It's the ultimate identity politics pick. So then I find out this morning she recorded the thing 2 weeks ago from her mansion. And I love this. She's talking about climate change from her mansion on the water in Martha's Vineyard. She's so concerned about climate change. She buys a $15 million mansion on the water. Anyway, how can this be that? How can this not be updated? How can you not do it after the pick? The whole world is watching. You're the most important speaker they have, at least on this night. And you can't take the time to update it with a mention of the VP pick? Explain that to me, Alex.
Well, I just didn't think it was that important, obviously. They have a lot of vacationing to do. I mean, nothing gets in the way of a good vacay, you know?
I mean, what did she have that was more important? You know?
Well, sit by the beach.
Even that, do it at night. You know, do it, squeeze it in 10 minutes in the middle of the day, go back to your mansion. There's a million handlers. It's not like, you know, you and me winging it on our own here. There are texts and video people, and okay, I'm going to update it. I'm going to mention, you know, the pick and say how wonderful it is and say how I love Kamala. She didn't even bother to do that. How important could this be to her if she couldn't update it? It just, it amazes me when I heard that. And you're right. I didn't even pick up on the death toll that she gave the death toll from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, because you know that they wouldn't have undersold that. I mean, that was, you know, that was just what it was at the time. But the theme of the night really was, these people are not Trump. They're not deranged. They're not insane. They're at least competent. So vote for them. And that was really the theme. And you wonder, you know, how does John Kasich fit on the same program as Bernie Sanders? Well, I think they were trying to show, and, you know, I don't know how effective it was, but they were trying to show that, you know, people across the broad ideological spectrum just want Trump out of office, and Biden is a safe choice. Don't worry, it's fine.
Well,
and
if you want
the message.
If you want to sell the fact that it's a safe choice, then you don't bring Bernie out at all. I mean,
Bernie. Well, hold on. I mean, Bernie has a huge constituency in the Democratic Party that they need to vote for Biden. So, I mean, of course they brought him out.
So you can't really sell yourself as a moderate, because not only does Bernie speak, but he speaks with authority. You get the sense that Bernie, and you know, you're happy about this. God bless you. And so's Trump, by the way. Bernie is a major player here. Bernie is dragging Sleepy Joe way far to the left, which is not good if you're hoping to get elected. I mean, if you want to get elected, if you want to get those votes in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, you don't want to be seen as Bernie's puppet. But it feels
states that Bernie won in 2016 against Hillary. What do you mean? But
it feels. I mean, well, you would agree. I'm not. It's not an opinion. It's a fact. They don't want to appear like Bernie is running the show here. And
no, they certainly don't. I mean, they tried their best to, you know, oust him in the primary, and they succeeded.
Yeah, and I mean, he's going to be out there on the trail. I mean, we just, and so are his surrogates. So is AOC, and so is Ilhan Omar, and so is Ayanna Pressley, calling for more violence in the streets. That's not the message you're hoping for if you're Joe Biden or Kamala or you're whoever, David Axelrod or whoever is behind the scenes pulling the strings. You don't want this image out there that Bernie is got more influence, and you're going to be, this is going to be socialism light if Biden wins. But let's get to, since you don't think anybody should mention the violence in the streets and condemn it. So that means you want to.
I mean, we've been talking about it for like 9-10 weeks. I mean, what more is there to say?
I just showed you the goddamn video over the weekend, and it doesn't, of a guy who is still unconscious in the hospital, kicked in the head by a Black Lives Matter.
Unfortunately, people get kicked in the head all the time. What makes this one more notable than, other?
Because, I'll give you a couple reasons. It's done for political reasons, which makes it a terrorist act. And B,
terrorism.
The cops are doing nothing about it. The Democrat mayor and the Democrat governor are looking the other way and letting these anarchists run wild. That should offend anybody. out there, but apparently not Alex Reimer and not Michelle Obama.
Because it's a distraction. I mean, we have, 30 plus million people unemployed, at least nearly 1 million people still losing their jobs every week, over 1,000 COVID deaths per day. Coronavirus now the third biggest killer in the U.S. this year. I'm actually focused on issues that matter. So that's where I come from.
All right. The victim's name, just, we like to say his name here, is Adam Hayner. He was trying to protect the blonde woman near his truck. She was his girlfriend or his friend. They set up a GoFundMe because he's still unconscious in the hospital. They know who the perpetrator, they know who the scumbag Antifa maggot who kicked him in the head. They know who it is. I'm going to retweet it again. I'm just going to keep retweeting until Alex actually, sees it and condemns it.
I can't see your tweets anymore. You're shadow banned from my account.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
That last week.
I wouldn't be surprised. But since you think the coronavirus is a very important political issue, and it is, how about this one from our guy Andy No? There's a popsicle company called Otter Pops, and they're donating free popsicles to all the Antifa rioters because it can get a little warm when you're trying to burn down buildings. I love that. I love the fact that some people still think, these are noble people doing good work because, George Floyd hasn't mattered to these people in months, if he ever did. I mean, he's got nothing to do with this. It's just anarchists trying to overthrow the U.S. government and trying to defeat Trump. But anyway, let's get to the coronavirus, because this was surreal to me. This was bizarre and surreal. And after I saw it, I had to go online and make sure it wasn't some friggin' Babylon Bee or Onion parody. Featured speaker last night on the Democrat National Convention, and the topic was the coronavirus, was Andrew Killer Cuomo. I mean, Alex, even you who just, blindly follows these radicals, you have to admit that was an odd choice. AOC is going to get 1 minute. You're a hero, AOC, your fellow BU grad, your fellow commie, is going to get 60 seconds to speak. I'm not sure how long Cuomo got, but he got longer than 60 seconds. And what did he do with his time? He bragged about the great job he did in New York. Can we hear some of Cuomo, and then we'll go over the numbers?
Oh, yes.
Close we actually are. Yes, we will set up testing and tracing and do whatever we need to do to mobilize to win this battle, because we are America. We win wars, and we are the greatest country on the globe.
Ooh.
And for all the pain and all the tears, our way worked, and it was beautiful. We showed that our better angels are strong, and that Americans will rise to their call. We saw that even at the end of the day, even if it is a long day, that love wins.
There you go.
Can you imagine being one of the family members, a son, grandson, daughter of the 11,000 senior citizens who were killed because of his order on March 25th? Can you imagine knowing that this monster sent positive coronavirus patients into nursing home, wiping nursing homes out? The latest estimate is over more than 11,000 New Yorkers killed by his incompetence. And they choose him to brag about the actions taken by Democrats. This was mind-boggling. Talking about better angels. Our way worked, and it was beautiful. Please tell me you're not going to defend this, Reimer, because it is not defensible.
I think it was right. I think something that's killed, so many people, call it beautiful. That's a nice thing to say. It's very nice.
It was. I mean, what would be beautiful, by the way? Would it be the empty ship that was in the harbor? Would it be the empty Javits Center, the facilities that the federal government set up that he didn't use because he said, we don't need that. We'll just send the patients back into the nursing homes and kill thousands. All right, I'm going to give you the update. Because I went nuts when I saw this last night. If New York were a country, not a state, if New York were a country, how many? Where would it rank in the world in coronavirus deaths? We know it's number one by far in the United States, but where would it rank in the world?
Definitely behind the U.S. I know, is it third?
fourth. It would be fourth most deaths. If New York were a country and not a state, these 32,920 deaths would rank fourth in the world for most coronavirus deaths, which is amazing to me. But, we know that this guy is incompetent. We know what he did. That's one thing. But to march him out, why wouldn't you have, I don't know, I guess most of the Democrat governors can't take a bow because most of them are as bad or not as bad or are pretty bad too. It would rank behind only the U.S., Brazil, and India. With 32,900 deaths.
I mean,
I'm sorry. It would rank one. Mexico, not 1, 2. Mexico, India, and Brazil.
Well, I mean, the truth is that no governor really has an unblemished record with the coronavirus, Democrat or Republican. So, and I would say the defense of Cuomo would be that obviously what he did in March and April was disastrous and putting in elderly, sick people into nursing homes. And it was absolutely terrible. But since then, I mean, right now, New York, only 1% of tests come back positive for coronavirus. I mean, they really do have had it under control there for several months. And I think that's what Cuomo's talking about. The beginning was terrible, but since then, I mean, they have, it's actually the area in the country where there's less virus than most places right now. I mean, it's
California, Florida, and Texas combined haven't lost as many people as New York.
Yeah, I know, but if you were to go to since June 1 or even May 15th, New York is way down. I mean, it was a terrible start, but as I said, only 1% of tests come back positive there now. In comparison, LA 7%, Miami 13%, 15% in Houston. I'm just saying that I mean they got. I mean, right now they are a success story from the standpoint that they've gotten a handle on it. I mean,
that's moving the goalpost. Deaths sort matter. Deaths are most important.
Right, they do matter, but since June 1, New York is down near the bottom in deaths and cases.
And it's. I mean, you pick this guy to go out there and take a bow. That is insane. I guess he's a good speaker. I guess you got to help him with the misinformation. You got to help him spin. But they don't let AOC speak or Ilhan Omar or Ayanna Pressley, the real leaders of the party.
I agree.
And they let that would drive me nuts if I were you, if I cared, if I was rooting for these people, that they give John Kasich and Andrew Cuomo and Meg Whitman more time than they give Ayanna Pressley.
No, I agree. It's terrible. I mean, it's like the Republicans announced yesterday that that St. Louis couple that was ready to shoot the protesters will be speaking. How come the Democrats don't give us who we want to hear? Like, that's who you all want to hear. We want to hear AOC. We want to hear Ayanna Pressley. We don't want to hear Meg Whitman and John Kasich. So I agree.
I think, and you're right, the McCluskeys from St. Louis, they're going to speak, and they're good. He's a good speaker. He's a lawyer. And the other big announcement yesterday was Nick Sandman, the Covington kid, and the highest paid guy at the Washington Post and CNN, Nick Sandman, who was slandered by all the mainstream media, despite the fact that he showed amazing composure when the agitator, the American Indian agitator, tried to get a charge out of him. They didn't. He failed because the kid was so good, so composed. He's going to speak, which will be a little weird. I mean, he's 18. I don't know if I could handle that at 18. I don't know about you, Reimer. Oh, you could, because you were on Jay Leno at 12.
I was on Kirk and Callahan at 18.
Minus speakers like that. Because we were talking about that with Turtle Boy yesterday. How do you improve if you're conservatives? How do you improve upon last night? Like, do you do it live? Do you think? Like, I would do
something.
It
there has to be some more energy, because that's the problem in this. The plus for the Democrats, the benefit of this is they can edit it. I mean, you don't have a lot of gaffes. You're not going to have people choking up on stage or losing their way. But it feels obviously recorded, prepackaged. It feels a little too choreographed, and there's no energy. Reimer's right. It felt telethon-ish at times. And I think you're right. What they have to do, and they're doing it now, is show Trump as the fearless one, going out there and not being afraid of the virus, not being afraid of the questions, where you have Biden just the opposite. He's hiding in his basement. The only questions he's taken since naming Kamala Harris is from Cardi B. And we can get to that if you want. Have you seen
Cardi B embarrassed him a little bit.
Cardi B, it was incredible. And it was edited, by the way. It was edited. I'm not sure how that works. Who edited it? Did the campaign make a deal with Cardi B? I mean, she's a journalist. She got some standards here, but they edited the video. I don't know if you can get some of this, Cullinane, but I watched it yesterday and laughed out loud at she is not really an astute political analyst. Let's be honest.
Speak for yourself.
This is with it was with some magazine. So it's like a production with them. So they edited the whole thing.
Oh, they're the ones who edited it? Because there's a bunch of points where Biden's kind of choppy and you get the sense that he's looking at her like, what the hell are you talking about? There's a 2-minute rant I tweeted out yesterday where she tells you what she thinks. She wants to make sure we have free Medicare. She wants free Medicare and free school, free college for everybody. And she wants more, she said, I quoted her directly, more stricter laws to stop cops from killing.
Okay. Honestly, I mean, that would be the most grammatically correct thing our president has ever said. So let's not. I'm
not talking about Biden. I'm talking about
I know,
Cardi B.
What's wrong with that? I love Cardi B. She's pushing Joe Biden to actually, do what voters want, which is give them health care. Good for her.
Health care. They have health care. Medicare is already free for seniors.
Well, why do we have tens of millions of people who are unenrolled in health care?
She doesn't know what Medicare is. He won't do an interview with Chris Wallace or with the Vox guy, Swan. He won't do an interview with 60 Minutes. He won't even do an interview. He won't even answer questions from his biggest fans, the people at the Washington Post and NBC. But he will sit down with Cardi B, which is kind of a shallow, wouldn't you say, attempt to appeal to, I guess, African Americans or women.
No, it's an attempt to appeal to young people. I think more than, Biden has the black vote. He carried him through the primaries, and it will, be over 90%. I'm sure in the general, well over. It has to be. So I think it's more about young people than anything else. And if you're Joe Biden, why would you do an interview with anybody? You're ahead right now, and just kind of play it safe, stay in the basement. Kamala, even though I know that you hate her, is a very safe pick. She's impossible to define. Is she a radical leftist? Is she hard on crime? You guys are kind of all over the map on her.
No, she's a radical leftist.
She is?
So then, I don't hate her. I don't hate her at all. I just think she's a terrible pick.
She's a great pick because she doesn't
get you anybody, Alex. She doesn't secure you any votes. None. She doesn't. California.
But she doesn't lose you votes and have people running away. I think the Democrats have decided this election will be, how do we get moderate Republicans, these suburban people who voted, by the way, for Democrats in 2018 because they overtook the House, to vote for the ticket in 2020. So let's just get a safe choice who's inoffensive, who's down the middle, and that's Kamala. She's a safe choice. She is.
She's literally more left wing than Bernie Sanders.
That's not true at all.
According to some barometers, but she's a radical. She got you. And I've said this before. I think I talked about it with you last week. I was amazed. She never even made it to the primaries. She bowed out before anybody except Beto because nobody likes her. Nobody wanted to vote for her. She gets you no votes. She was polling behind Liz Warren among black voters during the primaries. Black voters didn't support her at all. You're right. It's kind of weird. Black voters love Biden. They don't love her. It's strange. And she's a crazy leftist, and I'm not sure he needed that. He had to have a black woman, and I don't know.
What's crazy about her?
You name it. She believes it. She co-sponsored the Green New Deal.
Oh, stop it. Every Democrat did, Jerry. Like 30 senators. You know how that works. Co-sponsor. That means
right.
Nothing.
She co-sponsored the craziest leftist left-wing.
Yeah, but she was a bandwagon person on that. She's the headline of the Wall Street Journal. The headline of the Wall Street Journal last week when Biden picked Kamala was "Wall Street breathes sigh of relief" with Kamala Harris picked.
Right.
So
Wall Street loves the leftists. They love Biden.
They love Bernie Sanders. No, they don't. They hate Elizabeth Warren.
That's your party. You're the party of identity politics and Wall Street.
Sure. Right. Exactly. And Kamala Harris is the embodiment of identity politics and Wall Street. Correct. Yes, she is. I agree.
That's your pick. A terrible pick. Wins you no votes. Unfortunately for Biden, he boxed himself in. It had to be a black woman. And I guess he thought she was better than Susan Rice or Stacey Abrams.
Well, she's much better than Susan Rice because, again, we're about playing it safe. And Susan Rice, A, has never been on a ticket before, and B, easily definable. They'll say Benghazi. I mean, no one even really knows what that is, but I mean, they'll say it: attack,
Lots of
attack,
people know
attack.
that what it is.
And
See, here's what here's the problem you have, Reem, is you assume everybody is as dumb as the average, liberal. People know what Benghazi is, and if they don't, they would learn because Trump would bombard them. I don't think Trump's a great speaker. I don't think he's a great debater. He's certainly better than Biden, but I think he has a pretty damn good team who whipped together these commercials the minute Kamala Harris was named, and they will do it again. They'll put one together about Cuomo and the disaster that was New York. They'll have these wrinkly old never Trumpers, Kasich and Whitman, and they'll have them in some other 60-second ad online in a matter of minutes. They're good at this, and I think they'll be good at learning from this first. They have a big advantage. You got to admit, going second this year when you have never had a virtual convention before, going second is always an advantage. It's a bigger advantage this time to see how the Democrats are doing it and then, fix the mistakes and somehow try to add a little energy, maybe have some live audience of some kind. Certainly have Trump. He's going to accept the nomination in the White House. Maybe surround him with people safely distanced apart who can at least, clap. Don't you need that to add some energy?
Please clap. They should bring back Jeb.
That's a good one.
I'm actually shocked that he didn't speak at the DNC last night with all the.
That's a good point. Well, you know what? I thought George W. Bush would be sitting on Michelle Obama's lap because those two love
candy. They do, yeah. George. All you need to know about, you call MSNBC the so-called liberal network. All you need to know is that Nicole Wallace, a flack for George W. Bush, was anchoring DNC coverage.Ake me up when who's the Obama press guy? Jay Carney. Wake me up when Jay Carney is on Fox News. I mean, come on.
Well, they have plenty of liberals. Juan Williams was on there drooling last night over Michelle Obama's speech. I think it was a very good speech from the standpoint that she really just laid into Trump is like just a pathetic loser. And she, that line that she threw at him, it is what it is. That's what he said about 170,000 coronavirus deaths. And she says he's just not up to the task. It is what it is. That was good shade. Except she only said 150,000 deaths because, as you point out,
she was a little out of date.
She couldn't be bothered to update it. She had plans. I'd love to know what her plans were the last 2 weeks that she couldn't update her speech. But and you know what? Better angels. The better angels. If I were a speechwriter, if I were a candidate, I'd tell my speechwriter, don't mention better angels. It's such a lame cliche. Cuomo did it. She did it. Probably, Kasich did it too. I wasn't really paying attention, but we gotta summon our better angels. Is that what you think of when you think of Joe Biden? He's a better angel.
We have to reclaim the soul of America.
All right, the soul. It's true. I will admit that the soul of America is dark right now. When people I
agree.
Antifa and Black Lives Matter are kicking people in the head and rioting and burning and chasing people out of the cities. Here's another thing you haven't seen, and you got to see it. This video from New York City that's like a minute long, and they go up all these streets. New York City's gone. That's an issue. That's going to be an issue for the Republicans. These cities are destroyed, and they're not coming back anytime soon. Businesses, restaurants, home, condos, people that live in the city are leaving, and those are taxpayers. They need that revenue more than ever, and it's going. Even Cuomo is begging them to not flee New York City because he knows that the rich pay most of the taxes and they can't afford to lose them all. But
I mean, cities ultimately are fine. It's where people want to live. Suburbs suck, and they're struggling now because of COVID. But next year at this time, 2 years from now, whenever this dystopia is over, cities will be fine.
I don't think it's over anytime soon. If you owned a restaurant, had a friend owned a restaurant, then you would know. That I heard somebody, actually it was Rush, El Rushbo was talking about this. That thousands of New York restaurants depend on theater and and sports, and that's all gone. And the people, these restaurants are just empty because the theater is gone. Broadway is going to be gone for a full year, and the ancillary, the effects, what do you call it? The collateral damage is incredible when you consider all those places that people eat because you don't go to a play without going to a restaurant are just wiped out.
Oh, it's insane. I mean, frankly, I don't know how any restaurant stays in business outside of like takeout Chinese or pizza during COVID. I don't understand it at all. You even go, like I was out at the Seaport last week and we ate at a restaurant, which was very crowded. The outdoor seating was 100% crowded. Even inside, it was filled to however much they could fill it to. But you look, there's empty tables everywhere. There's no bar action at all. And this is when it's supposed to be good. I mean, what's it going to be like in October when everybody has to go inside and everyone's afraid to eat inside? And then, these are supposedly good times and restaurants are still doing like 30 to 40% of what they used to do.
And that's not sustainable. I mean, the number, it was a month ago, was in Massachusetts, 4,000 restaurants were expected to go under. And I'm
surprised not all of them are, honestly, unless you own your own building. But other than that, I don't see how anybody could stay in business, and it's depressing.
I'm with you. Pizza Hut closed 300 restaurants, and I don't know. That's Pizza Hut. As you point out, they're doing delivery and pickup, and they should be okay, but they're not. Nobody is. No restaurant owner is feeling good right now because it's not going to end, at least not till November. I'm convinced.
I mean, I will say this, Jerry. I mean, you were going with how Democrats want there to be violence in the city. I'm not sure about that, but I mean, I do think that there is a lot of politics when it comes to closing schools. I mean, public schools. If you look at the correlation between caseloads, positive test rates, and whether school is opening, it actually has very little correlation. It's all about politics. If you are a school in a red area, you're open more likely. If you're in a blue area, you're closed. I mean, there is, I think, some incentive on the part of these Democratic mayors and governors to keep things as desolate as they can up until November. And then once Biden, I mean, yeah, I think it's pretty obvious.
I'll give you credit. Most people on your side of the aisle are not admitting that, but I'm glad you admitted it.
Well, I mean, all you need to do is I saw a study from the Brookings Institute a couple weeks ago, and how do you explain the fact that in Massachusetts, for example, the Globe had the story last week, half of the districts in the state have a positive test rate below 1%. And many of them are still not open for all day learning. So if you're not going to open schools when the positive test rate is below 1%, then when are you going to open schools? I guess until there's a vaccine. So I guess
November 4th, you're right. Until the election, that's all it's about. It's strictly about politics. The teachers unions are all about politics, all about defeating Trump. It's got nothing to do with the kids. It's got nothing to do with the virus. And the problem they have is it's so obvious that even even Democrat parents are disgusted, and the polls show it. That's why people like Cuomo and Schumer are saying we got to open the schools because they know it's not a winning issue right now. People are tired of this, tired of them using the virus, and they want schools open and they want football too. That's another winning issue for
what is college football.
Yes, they want college football. They want pro football. They want high school football. I mean, if you're
high school football,
yes. Why not? Why not?
I don't think there ever needs to be high school football ever again. So I mean,
okay.
it's brought nothing but misery.
They want high school cross country. How's that?
Good. Then we're on high school swimming and diving and cross country.
Diving and cross country, and we want biological boys to play with the girls and kick their ass. Right. That's as far as we care about high school sports.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, but Trump has a plan. He always has a plan. He's campaigning in person, by the way, through these swing states. I think he's hitting 4 states this week in the battleground states to prove that he is not afraid. I mean, it'll backfire if he gets the virus, but as long as he stays healthy, he will prove that he's not afraid to go out in public, not afraid to take questions. He takes questions every day. Biden takes no questions. By the way, I want to get to, if Cullinane is not napping over there, I want to get back to Cardi B because it's hilarious. The only question Biden has taken is from Cardi B, and it's hysterical. But Trump has a plan to upstage the virtual convention tonight. He's announced that he's going to pardon somebody important. And before we started recording, we were speculating, but you and I can get into that after I get into Shea Concrete. Yeah, find that. I tweeted it out. The Cardi B question, which is 2 minutes long for Biden. You don't need an answer because there is no answer. He just sits there like shaking his head, doesn't know what she's saying, but it's hilarious.
Literally, the still of the video is just him so confused by what.
I know it is. It doesn't do him any good. Alex said he's trying to reach out to young people. I don't think young people are seeing that.
Hey,
and saying,
it's hot right now. WAP is hot right now. It's the song of the summer right now. If you ask me.
It is, and we sang it last week, and we look to sing it again this week.
Sure.
All right, well, I'll let you sing it again after I sing the praises of Shea Concrete. You know all about Shea Concrete.
We do.
They're a great company, a family-owned company that's working hard day in and day out to be your trusted precast concrete partner. They're a local company, but they're all over New England. They have 4 state-of-the-art manufacturing facilities, which are all hiring, by the way. I'll get to that. If you're a contractor, let me tell you some of the products Shea can deliver to your job site ready for installation. Water and wastewater products, underground stormwater systems, barriers and bollards, deck footings, electrical and communication products. The list goes on and on. These guys at Shea, they can do it all. And if you're an engineer, Shea can help you design your next project. You can sit down with all their wonks, all their guys, their engineers, guys and girls, sit down at the computer, figure things out, or you can do it virtually too, I'm sure. They can help get it done. Give them a call for more information or for an estimate, or just log on to sheaconcrete.com, where you can also check out the job openings, the jobs. They're cranking. Business is great, and they're always hiring at all 4 of their facilities, looking for CDL drivers. If you think it might be a good fit, just send your resume to jobs@sheaconcrete.com. All right. What was Reimer's guess for the pardon? I'm struggling with this. I feel like I should have a good handle on this. It's not going to be Edward Snowden would be very controversial.
He said no Snowden and no, who's the other one he said he's not doing?
No Flynn.
Yeah.
Didn't they already do? Oh, we didn't have to do Flynn. That's right.
He commuted his sentence. No. Justice Department dropped the case.
Right. And then that crazy left-wing Obama judge brought it back. But
good.
I don't think he
should be able to lie to the FBI.
I don't think he has to pardon Flynn, but so who would it be? I
told you, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Oh man,
it's not going to be something gimmicky. It's not going to be like who? It's not going to be. I'm trying to think of who it could be, but
the guesses were, Joe Exotic. Roger Stone's already been pardoned. He doesn't have to do Roger Stone.
Right.
But
you forget that.
Is it
attack
somebody
on our justice system.
I can't even think of.
I mean, yeah. So let's go through it. I mean, so probably you don't think Ghislaine Maxwell.
I don't. I mean,
would that be crazy?
I don't think that's a winning move right now.
Why? He wishes her well.
Yeah.
How does it help you politically to pardon her?
I mean, he definitely doesn't help the QAnon people. That'd be Trump then freeing like a child's predator, which goes against the narrative.
I love how Reimer doesn't care about Antifa burning down cities, but QAnon is always so important.
Well, QAnon is a huge issue. I mean, they have now people.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. You don't want to do, the rioting, the Antifa.
Right,
I don't want to do.
All right, cool. QAnon is more important than Antifa. It's your party's becoming the QAnon party, and I was ahead of the curve on that. I've been talking to QAnon for years.
Shut up with the QAnon.
It's true. There's going to be a congresswoman in Georgia, Marjorie Taylor Greene or whatever, who's a QAnon believer. Scary.
Who else? Trump pardoned Joe Arpaio is one of them.
He was already pardoned.
I did that. I'm sorry.
He's already pardoned every awful person imaginable. So I don't know who it could be.
Possibilities. Let me see. Trump pardon possibilities.
I mean, what do they think? What are your people saying on the right? You're supposed to be in on this.
It's got to be good for politically. It's the middle of the campaign. He's trying to upstage, the.
Well, he's already freed Rod Blagojevich. I mean, who else can the man free?
Democrat, which was a good political move. I don't know. I got nothing. Your guess is Ghislaine Maxwell.
It's better than anything you have. You don't even have a guess.
Well, you kind of surprised me with this one. What about sports figures? He wants to be viewed as the president.
Sports. Will he
Right.
try to reinstate Pete Rose to the Baseball Hall of Fame?
Oh God.
I think he'll
Yeah.
unilaterally see if he can do that.
Maybe Don King. Don King was convicted of murder. We killed a guy whose last words were, "I'll pay you the money, Don." And Don kicked him in the head like he was an Antifa guy and killed the guy.
Tough break.
Maybe it's Don King. Is
Maybe.
there any? Because he's always thinking politically about, he loves his
The black vote.
the black vote. Alice Johnson, she'll be there next week, or she'll be mentioned at the Republican convention. So, is there a black person who's been convicted of a crime?
It can't be
who would
something
do him
like
some
this
good
is-
politically.
Like this is Kim Kardashian's new mission in life, so it can't, because Kanye is now a competitor. It can't be a relationship where he does something for her, right? So that's out of the question. I would assume.
But he thinks Kanye is going to help him. He's going to drain votes from Biden. That's why Jared Kushner went out and met with him. O.J. Simpson. I don't think O.J. Simpson needs a pardon either. Hunter Biden, wouldn't that be something? I'm going to pardon. How about this one? He pardons for all future crimes. He pardons somebody like
Members of his family, just
Obama.
in
He
case.
pardons Barack Obama.
Well, that'd be nice. I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that'd be so stupid. Joe Exotic. I hate Tiger King. That'd be rots in prison.
See, when Trump does dumb stuff, it's usually off the cuff. It's not planned. I mean, his team would stop him.
Yeah,
When
I don't think
when he
that.
tweets about Roger Ailes, could he? Oh, how about this? He pardons Bill O'Reilly.
He might. Although Bill O'Reilly didn't go to prison, so I don't know.
No, for future
Future crimes. Yeah, I think he's okay.
But
he's your Newsmax colleague, by the way. Now, Bill O'Reilly.
That's
so,
right.
Be nice.
I see him around the office. I call him Riles. I say,
Riles.
Riles, what's up, Billy? So it can't be something really stupid. Again, he does dumb stuff off the cuff, like mentioning Roger Ailes, or mentioning what was the other thing he did? He mentioned Ghislaine. Said, "I hope she does well." I hope she's doing well.
Which is why I predicted a pardon of some
Okay,
sort.
we'll see if it's Ghislaine Maxwell, whatever her freaking name is. then
Kamala
Reimer-
Maxwell.
Reimer was right. But will is that going to happen like right in the middle of the convention? Is that the plan?
Oh, it'd upstage it. It'd be like A-Rod announcing he was opting out of his contract in the middle of the World Series years ago. It would be just
Right.
like that, an upstage.
They're going to have hearings. Democrats are going to have hearings next week in the House on the big post office scandal, the silliest, most
Why?
made up thing of all
Barry,
time.
this is a
'Cause it's
serious
totally
issue. I mean,
made
mail
up.
is not getting delivered. I'm still
Totally
waiting on
made up.
checks.
No,
I
you're
mean,
not.
I
How
am.
about Barack-
I'm waiting on
How about
checks.
Barack Obama saying Social Security checks can't go out? This guy was
Well,
president for 8 years. He doesn't even know that they don't go in the mail anymore. They stopped doing that 7 years ago.
They should honestly stop doing. Well, I mean, I think for people who don't have direct deposit, they still probably get mailed checks. But if you can get direct deposit, that's where the way it should be. No more mailed checks. That's what I say, Jerry. Only
No
direct
more.
deposit from here on out.
All right, I can't. I'm looking at some of the guesses for on the comment line for people.
They're
who
like any
like
like right wing like TV anchors who have
Julian Assange. That wouldn't be good.
No,
That'd be
he's
terrible.
not- he's not doing
Lots of support for Tiger King, which would be stupid.
It's going to be
Who would even
it's going to
care?
be something completely out of left field, because Twitter would have it by now, or there would at least be a ton of different names and stuff, and nobody's saying anything out there. So it's
How about this one? Bob Kraft. He's still in legal jeopardy for the.
that would
for
be
Assange.
amazing. Oh, I'd love that.
You know what's a good one for you, Reimer? I was thinking of this like a column or a topic.
Yeah.
We talked about this yesterday. How many people do you know who voted for Trump 4 years ago and aren't going to vote for him anymore? Like, that's not really a thing. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I mean,
he's
I don't
got
know. anybody-
96% support, 96% support among Republicans, which is amazing. So tell me this. What segment, like, has he lost? Like, he hasn't lost, the private sector, business people who work for a living. I'd say the Midwest, I'd say the energy industry, they still support him. The military still supports him. You know what it feels like he's lost? Sports, like obviously Brady bailed on him early on. So I wouldn't, but like Belichick 4 years ago wrote him a letter, right? He had, Rex Ryan supporting him. I think Jerry Jones supporting him. He had a few athletes.
Well, he had a lot of NFL owners gave him his inaugural committee, $1 million.
They're not doing that. Wouldn't you say those days are over? Like they might do it privately, but publicly, because of the Black Lives Matter movement. We've seen it. Early on, we saw Popovich and Kerr, pandering to get because their players didn't like Trump with the kneeling stuff. But there's not going to be anyone in the world of sports, not even like in NASCAR. I said this yesterday. Jack Del Rio is the only guy who's going to publicly support the president. It wasn't that way 4 years ago. He lost sports. That sounds like a Reimer column to me.
That's not bad, Jerry. That's a good one. I think coming to Forbes. He did. I mean, poor Bob Kraft can't speak his mind. He's so, he's so aggrieved.
But wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you agree it would be hard for an owner of a football or a basketball team or even, baseball to come out and like,
well,
really,
it would
go full Lou Holtz and say, I love the guy, I support him, I love my president. You can't do that.
it would be suicidal, absolutely, from a locker room standpoint. I mean, frankly, I think it kind of was 4 years ago, but we didn't know how awful Trump would truly be until now. We've had almost 4 years of this. I honestly, Jerry, I don't know if you're a voter who's lost your job because of this, or you've lost a family member. I don't see how anybody could really vote for Trump unless you're rich, selfish, racist, or you think that like Bill Gates
and you love your country. If you love your country, you can't vote for those people you saw on stage last night and you will see again tonight. They don't love this country. They want to fundamentally change it. They want to dismantle it,
make it better.
And then now they want to make it socialist, and it's really discouraging.
Like you said, said, better.
Oh, geez, see. I can't. I want to get to Tom Brady. By the way, we're going to get a little sporty because
let's
Tom
do
Brady,
it. What's going on?
Tom
with
Brady
him?
did a podcast with Peter King. I think he did like 10 minutes, and we listened to it, Cullinane and I, before we started recording. And I was like, "Here, I'll give you the headline in the New York Post that got me curious. Ready? Tom Brady sounds thrilled to be away from Bill Belichick. Now that's the headline.
Clickbait.
And that was the tweet. And the headline of the story is Tom Brady doesn't sound like he's missing Bill Belichick much. In fact, he seems downright giddy to be teaming up with Bruce Arians and the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Just for a disclaimer purposes, Tom Brady could not sound more bored during this interview. Not only boring, but just like bored with the experience as well.
It reminded me how just boring and predictable he was. How careful he was is the better word. He used to be good. I tell people this all the time. You guys heard him with us for years where he was kind of candid, or he was kind of natural. And then Deflategate happened. And he just went into a shell and said nothing, and he still says nothing.
That's because you guys interviewed him when he was a nobody, right? So you were like part of the evolution. Now it's all these.
But I do think there were times when he said, we're going to get lubed up, and Jets suck, and he was kind of freewheeling, as Patriots go. He was a good interview. He's not anymore. I mean, he's still seems like a nice guy and a cooperative guy and all that, but he did.
The fear is fear itself with the coronavirus.
Right.
Who would have thought that? Who would have thought that you would get crapped on for writing a pro Brady column in Boston? The tides have turned.
Say that again.
Well, it was your old friend Andy Hart had one of the most controversial columns on WEI.com since I wrote there last week. Did you defending Tom Brady's? No, you defending his coronavirus stance. Yeah.
Oh, good. Defending his coronavirus stances, which is what? Let's go about our lives.
Yeah, the only thing that fear is the most dangerous part of the coronavirus.
And you take the right immunity or whatever, the supplements that he sells at TB12, and you'll
be fine. Yeah.
You can be immune. But let's hear some.
That's a business that I don't think is going to make it. Sorry, Jerry. Go ahead.
Let's hear some of this incredibly boring podcast. And let me tell you, Cardi B with Biden was much better than Peter King with Tom Brady. I'll just give you that tease. And the New York Post is just looking for clicks. He doesn't sound like he's happy to be rid of Bill Belichick at all.
Let's hear
it. I said this the other day. It's my 30th year playing football, including high school, and this is the first time I've ever had an offensive head coach. So that
Wow.
provides something a little bit different for the quarterback.
That's amazing. That
yeah.
that really is amazing.
Yeah, 30
What's
years,
amazing about
high
it?
school, college, and then pro football. And I've had, the first time it's been an offensive coach. So it's interesting.
So that's his shot at Belichick, is just that he finally has an offensive coach, but he never had one in his history. It's not just Belichick. It's
He's talking about whatever Gary Moeller or the guy. Who's the guy that he hates at Michigan? The guy that platooned him with Drew Henson. Geez, I'm drawing a blank, and you guys are both idiots, so it's a waste. But who was the Michigan coach that? I'll wait for the comments. But anyway, do you guys think that was a shot at Belichick?
No, not at all. I'm still trying to figure out what was amazing about it. What was being amazed by with that answer? I don't really get it.
So he's had one coach in the NFL. We know that, of course. Yeah, Lloyd Carr. Lloyd Carr platooned him with Drew Henson, and Lloyd Carr. He still has a problem with what Lloyd Carr did, and so does Tom Brady Sr., by the way. But so he had, Lloyd Carr. He's talking about his high school coach. Are we supposed to think it was a shot at his high school coach too? He just had defensive coaches when he's had defensive-minded coaches. So what?
It is amazing, and I think I was ahead of the curve on Brady. I mean, it's amazing how fleeting the fandom is. I feel like that not only is he no longer beloved in New England, I feel like he's forgotten. I mean, doesn't it feel that way?
Forgotten?
Yeah, I mean, who even knew? Tom Brady is like, I think the last 5-6 months have been terrible for him. He's looked awful here. People are sick of him here, and it's amazing. Once a hero.
No, that's dramatic. This is just the coronavirus nonsense.
I agree with Cullen.
It's not an anti-Brady thing here. I think once football starts, people around here are going to be just as excited to consume Bucs games as they are.
Because they're curious, but I don't think there's any love for Brady anymore.
Brady Breeze will have bigger numbers than the friggin' first Well, if the Patriots are starting Cam Newton, it's going to be big too. And he's in a competition for his life with Stiddy. That's going to be interesting. You don't think there's any love for Tom Brady? What? I mean, I know I bring you on here to say dumb stuff, Reimer, but do you really believe that? There's no love for Brady in New England?
I think it's gone. I think people were definitely sick of the coronavirus thing, of course. He comes across like a lunatic. And in the way that he carried around with the free agency, the Super Bowl ad, I think people are sick of Tom Brady, and they've lost all their love for him because he's a sports player who's now playing for another team, and everyone got over it. So,
well, I think they're going to root for him. I think they're going to root for Tampa. I think that the big dream is Tampa, New England Super Bowl, and if both teams start hot, people are going to start talking about that. That'll be the topic on overnight radio with Reimer.
It depends on where we are at the bubble. I mean, I think that Damian Lillard and the Blazers have a chance to make things interesting. He's been sick, and the bubble. You're a sports guy. The NBA playoff games have actually been very good. Inside, it's been the
only thing I care about is golf and football right now. I don't know. I'm the NBA. I'm serious. I bailed. Too woke for me, man. Too woke for me. And baseball. The Red Sox are terrible.
Very good.
Feels like spring training. It feels worse than spring training. It feels like spring training before they start playing spring training games. Like in Fort Myers, there's no intensity. There's no energy. This is it, man. The sport of the summer is Biden v. Trump, the heavyweight battle of these two, and all their surrogates. And it began last night. It feels like the campaign had began last night, and I think we should wrap this up with the only journalist to actually get a sit-down interview with Joe Biden.
Alrighty.
But we don't need Biden. I just need Cardi B, who, by the way, is a former stripper who has admitted to drugging and robbing men that she took back to her apartment. This is the Me Too era, and the only journalist to get a sit down with one of the candidates, Joe Biden, is a woman who's admitted to drugging and robbing men, and by the way, has spent a lot of time talking about like penises and vaginas and orgasms and everything else. That's who he chooses to sit down with. Well,
It's primarily all the things that I talk about too, to be honest.
Basically, yeah.
So it's
Dave is the
fair.
same.
This is the real world, Jerry. This is the real, what people talk about.
By the way, he hasn't sat down with any of his fans either, like Jim Acosta or Andrea Mitchell or any of the big supporters. These are his this is his campaign team, essentially. Hasn't sat down with, Rachel Maddow or Chris Hayes or Alex Reimer. Instead, he went with Cardi B, who, do we really think she's like registered to vote?
I'm sure she is.
She is, yeah, good.
Yeah.
All right, can we hear from Cardi B, Cullinane?
A whole list of things that I want and I wish and I desire for our next president to do for us. But first thing first, let me give it a buck. I just want Trump out. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like his mouth gets us in trouble so much. I don't want to be lied to. I don't want, we're dealing with a pandemic right now, right? And I just want answers. I want to know when this is over. I want to go back to my job. I want to be able to go outside. I want to be able not to feel like I'm trapped in my home. But I don't want somebody to lie to me and tell me that it's okay to go outside. It's okay not to wear a mask, that everything is going to be okay. No, I want like a timeline of when things are going to get better. I want a president to tell me what are the steps for us to get better besides, taking precautions like with our masks and quarantining. I need somebody to tell me like, this is going to be over when we find this cure. This is why it's taking so long. This is why other countries are doing better than ours when it comes to this pandemic. I need somebody to tell me the truth, the hardcore truth. And also, I, of course, want free Medicare. And this is why it's important to have free Medicare, because look what's happening right now. You see what we should have been have free Medicare for a long time. I, of course, think that we need free college education. That's second. And I want Black people to stop getting killed and no justice for it. I'm tired of it. I just want more stricter laws.
All right, she wants more stricter laws. This goes on for another minute or two.
He has no plans to start speaking during that.
And the candidate for president is sitting there more confused than ever. And in this case, I don't blame him. He's just looking blankly going, who is this person? Who is this person who is talking to me about free Medicare? And
like Biden is into Cardi B? What do you mean? Great team.
And it's just amazing that the media doesn't complain. Obviously, they're invested in his candidacy and want him to win badly. They should be saying, right now, they should be outraged, saying, you won't answer questions from us, but you sit down with this woman who wants to get back to work. What's she talking about? She's got the biggest song, the biggest video in the world right now in the middle of the pandemic.
But it was probably recorded before the pandemic. She wants to get back out there. She wants to do her concerts.
And she's like, I assume in this interview, the mask mandate, this other thing Biden wants to do is make it a law that everyone in the world has to wear a mask.
All right, honestly, Jerry, I hate wearing a mask too, but what's the problem with that? If that's what we have to do to actually get going again, then what's the issue with what's the problem with wearing a mask? What do you mean?
There's no problem. If a business says you got to wear a mask, I do it.
Right.
So some farmer in Iowa is out on his tractor by himself.
No.
You want it a law. No. You want to make it a law.
It's all stupid. I mean, look, the fact that you can go to a restaurant, right? You wear your mask on when you talk to the host, and then you sit down and eat where you're laughing, you're chewing, your mouth is open, no mask, because I guess the virus, respects the dinner time ritual. And then you have to go up to the bathroom and wear your mask. I mean, it's all kind of silly stuff, but I do it because it makes people feel better. Fine.
That's all. I mean,
whatever they want it. Whatever they want.
The other day, in the course of 2 days, I had a cloth mask, a gator thing that you pull up. They
say that's bad. They say that's even worse than not wearing a mask. Which
that day, there was an article. Exactly, my daughter read it. Said it's worse than having no mask. The mask that I use.
But I don't see how that's possible, though.
And the next day, there was an article. I forget where it was. A story that said the masks with the little vents.
Not good.
They look really cool. I mean, they look like you're serious about masking. Those are worse than nothing. So the mask I had and the mask my daughter had were both worse than nothing. And the next day, Biden announces that he wants a national mandate that you have to wear a mask. And I'm going, but you just told me this thing doesn't work. It's just kind of confusing. just, wear a mask because it makes people feel better. That's what I do. I don't think it helps anything, but I'm certainly not going to wear a mask. Do you wear a mask running or riding a bike or working out?
No, I mean, what I do is when I run around M Street Beach, I will wear my buff. And then when I'm around like a group of people, I will pull it up so I don't get like a dirty look and then pull it down. I mean, it's annoying, but I'll do it.
By the way, no mask.
I'm a humanitarian.
No mask for Cardi B or Joe Biden on that video, which is, I think.
They were probably alone in their homes.
So what? We can't be too careful. Reimer. All right. I'll let you go read up on the riots in Portland and Seattle and the violence and the anarchy in the streets. I know you don't care, but I think you should. This is your country. As I like to say, I'm lucky. I made it through. I feel bad for people like you in your 20s. And if these lunatics do indeed fundamentally transform this country, it ain't going to be good for you, someone that wants to go to work. I mean, you are the hardest working commie I know. And, I don't think this will be good if these nuts that you saw on TV last night take control of the government. And we'll do it again tonight. And for the next 3 nights, we'll watch these prepackaged, recorded, choreographed appearances. Do they have any celebrities like the Republicans are planning? Nick Sandman and the McCluskeys. Are there going to be any? George Floyd's family was there last night. I was not surprised to see that. There'll be more of that. More. Breonna Taylor's family has to be there at some point, right?
Well, there's Bill Clinton tonight.
Oh, that's right. The theme of tonight is empowering women and speaking out against sexual harassment. And the featured speaker is one Bill Clinton, who was on Pedophile Island with teenage girls, underage girls. So he's the big star tonight. I'll be watching.
And AOC tonight, by the way. AOC
for a minute.
For a minute, but she can outline her pen pal program that's going to sweep the nation.
That's right.
That's what I'm excited about.
Which is amazing. I hate AOC. I'm not a fan, Reimer. To give her 1 minute,
I didn't know that.
The face of the party. She gets 1 minute and Killer Cuomo gets all the time he wants. It doesn't make any sense to me. But
I agree there. That's a note of agreement. Absolutely.
These are your people. These are your guys, Reimer. You can read Alex Reimer at Forbes.com and Outsports.
Yeah, I know you want me to write for Outkick so badly. Maybe I should apply anyway.
You should, but not everybody is as open-minded as I am that likes you and appreciates your level of insanity. Only I do that, but you can read them everywhere. Again, hardest working commie I know. Thanks, Reimer. We will talk to you again soon. And thanks to Allied Paving and Shea Concrete, and thanks to DCU. We got over 3,500 reviews.
Yeah, put out the call after Apple deleted some on us, which was very disrespectful of them.
Yes,
so I'm calling them out right now.
We're getting shadow banned all over the place, Reimer. It's tough. It's tough to not be a moonbat these days. But
luckily, I'm not upset today because I did just fuel up with some of my hydrant fruit punch earlier today.
Ooh, me too. I'm a big hydrant guy. I'm a hydrator. Brady convinced me, won me over to hydrate.
Yes.
And now I find the best way to hydrate is with hydrant because you start off your day and it just gives a little pep in the step because you're fully hydrated. That's important. So let's get some hydrant for Reimer. He needs it too.
I'm ready.
We're gonna get him some.
All right. I'm Jerry Callahan. This is the Callahan Podcast. I appreciate everybody listening, and we'll do it again tomorrow.